Welcome to East Coast Averages, the podcast that brings you stories from everyday people from all around the world. Recorded on the east coast of Australia, I'm your host Nick, and each week we'll sit down with average people who have unique stories to tell. Let's peek over the back fence and see what's happening in other people's lives. I never know what I'm going to discover until I sit down and start chatting to them. Today on East Coast Averages, I'll be talking to Jason. Jason lives in Queensland, Australia, and by all accounts is a pretty big fan of East Coast Averages. So I thought I'd get him on the show for a chat today, and I hope you enjoy it. How are you today, Jason?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, thanks, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks, mate. Thanks for joining us today. So let's start from the beginning, mate. Where were you born, and tell us about your life growing up?
Yeah, sure, mate. Yeah, so I was born in a little country town in West New South Wales called Coonabarabran.
Coonabarabran, you all know it, yeah.
Born and raised there. Early years there were pretty bland. We didn't have much. We were poor, mate. Grew up in housing commission and didn't really do a lot in my early days. We left Coona probably in about year 3 at school when I was in year 3. Dad got a job up in the New England Ranges up at between sort of Tamworth and Armidale on a big sheep and cattle station. So we moved up there for a few years, and it was bloody great. It was great living up there. We took it for granted, really. It was,
awesome. You when you were living in Coonabarabran in the housing commission, so when you went to Tamworth and that in New England, you really. So you weren't living in a housing commission there, but you noticed a difference?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, no, we lived on the property. So the first, we lived on 2 stations, actually. The first one was 24,000 acres, and the second one was 16,000 acres. So we lived on both times we lived in like little isolated houses on the property.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they were away from, like your dad would go to work but sort of travel a bit to get to the main buildings of the farm and where the equipment was, where he did.
Yeah. So they started as fencing contractors. They built all the fences for the properties. So it'd be wherever the fence is getting built. And then he moved on to rabbit eradication.
Oh yeah, they've been trying to eradicate rabbits for years, mate. Good luck.
I know, mate. Yeah,
like everyone, there's so many people have come and gone on different diseases and guns and everything, they're just fighting on, aren't they? Those rabbits.
Yeah. So he used to sit on the tractor all day long and bloody plough up rabbit warrens, and I remember I used to skip school and go to work with him and just shoot the bastards all day long.
Yeah. With a 22 or
had a 22 Magnum. Yep. So
that seems to be the standard gun for a kid growing up on a farm. Is the 22 exactly. Magnum seems to be the gun that parents buy their kids. So he would just plough up the fields where the rabbits were, and would they go scattering?
They go scattering. He had a couple of dogs chasing them.
Yep. Oh, so you'd have dogs chasing them too?
Yeah. He had a couple of whippets and a foxy.
Yep. And they would just bite them and kill them and move on to the next one?
They would, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen that on TikTok where they take a shipping container off in England and a heap of rats go mental. Yeah. And the dogs just go in and bite them, kill them. And look, it sounds pretty brutal. And I don't know if they still do it in this day and age. But how long ago was that?
We're talking like mid-90s.
Yeah, so it was a while ago.
Mid-90s, early 90s, yeah, so a long time ago, yeah.
Probably frowned upon these days, Jason, I would imagine.
I'd say it would be, mate, but yeah, I used to sit on the sidelines and what got away, I'd line up and shoot. And,
yeah. So you could put a round through a flea's ass at 200 yards by the time you were 10?
Anything that moved, mate, I could put a round into it,
yeah.
And it was bizarre because this day and age, I couldn't imagine my kids, that was my 9th birthday present, was a 22 Magnum.
Yeah.
So I had a motorbike and a rifle and 16,000 acres to play with.
Yeah. And your dad would let you go off by yourself?
They didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Literally. As long as I shut the gates and didn't shoot the sheep,
you could do it.
I could do anything. And mum and dad would sit at home and they could hear that rifle cracking around the hills and the motorbike going. They knew I was still alive. So
Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing it these days. But, And like I couldn't even shoot anything these days. I've gone soft in my old age.
Yeah, look, I had a mate who's passed away many, many years ago out of Bathurst. And I used to he moved from the mountains to Bathurst. And I went out to his place one day and we went walking with a 22 Magnum, the standard gun. And we shot a wild goat. Yeah. And we felt pretty bad, eh? So it was sort of like a Stand By Me moment. We're both fucking standing there looking at this goat and we've shot it and we're thinking, we've just killed a fucking goat for what reason? Reasons I don't know. So I think we spent the rest of the day shooting the rifle across a valley because we liked the sound of it going down the valley. So we put like 50 fucking bullets across his valley because we like the sound of it. And we actually felt pretty bad for killing the goat. So
yeah, you get a conscience, don't you?
Yeah, that was the end of my hunting career, I suppose. I guess maybe it would be better if we ate it or we dragged it home, but we didn't. We just fucking shot it.
It still takes. I don't know, mate. I got a conscience. I couldn't knock one over. It's just. Yeah, I'd go and buy a bit of meat in the supermarket, but I couldn't knock one over these days.
Yeah, it's funny what happens when you grow up. So anyway, I want to go back to Coonabarabran. Living in housing commission, it's how did you get? Like, were you treated differently in school? Like when you were a little fella in school, was it? Did anyone say, "Oh, that's fucking Jason. His family's poor. They're living in Hazo"?
Never. No, we were all on even plane. No, there was never any mention of it.
Yep.
It was just life.
Yeah. Did your mum and dad ever talk about it after, like, did they have something happen that they wound it up needing social housing? No. Did something happen in their life or they just couldn't find work and one thing led to another?
I just think generally they were just in that poor person's cycle, you know, they just in it and stuck in it. They're actually still in the same house now.
Oh, in Coona?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So they've been there for 45 years, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it's crazy. Still the same place. So, you know, they say they want to go, but they never will.
Yeah, no. Look, Coonabarabran's not the worst place. I've been to Coonabarabran quite a few times, been through there. I've got a brother-in-law that lives in Moree, so... Oh, yeah. Not Moree, sorry, fucking Narrabri. So you go through there on the way up.
On the other side of the Pilliga Scrub.
Yeah, the Pilliga. So here we go. Here's a question for you. Did you see any fucking yowies or anything weird on those 24,000?
Yowie stories. There's a couple, mate. I got... So one day, my grandparents had a property, had a farm. They had like 1,500 acres, like in the Pilliga Scrub.
Yep.
And I remember one story there. My family was up. I think it was like a Christmas or something like that. And they were there one night, and just outside the farmhouse, Gren had like the dogs tied up like the dog kennels. It was about 50 metres from the house. And this one night they went apeshit. These fucking dogs. Yeah. So my uncle went out. He's a Vietnam vet. He went out with his rifle to sniff around, and he came back and he's like, I don't know what the fuck was out there, but it was massive.
Yeah.
And it took off through the scrub, and all he said was just the stench of it and the size of it.
Yeah, well, like if you listen to all these podcasts about Sasquatch and Yowies, the stench, everyone says the stench. They smell it. They don't necessarily see it, but they hear it and smell it.
I remember Mum saying he said it was a cross between an electrical burn and shit.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. And then this other story. There used to be sort of around when I was there, the 80s and 90s, there was always yowie sightings. So, you know, to pop up, someone's seen a yowie and all the scientists would be out looking for footprints.
Yeah.
The town would be buzzing and carrying on. And one time I had a mate, he lived about 40 k's out of Coona on that road there going through the Pilliga on the way to Narrabri. Yep. He decided he's going to buy a gorilla suit.
He'd get himself shot, mate.
he's loaded up and put this friggin' gorilla suit on, and he'd wait on the side of the road until like a truck was coming down the road and run across the front of the truck.
Oh, fucking hell.
Next minute, all the fucking scientists are out looking for footprints. The town's buzzing.
Yeah, the Pilliga's got some weird stories going.
Yeah.
The weirdest, probably the scariest story of it, I don't know if you've heard it, but there's a YouTube story about a family stopping at Icky Falls. You know, remember Coonabarabran, like you'd know this from the times I'll be driving here and the trucks will be going, southbound Icky Falls, northbound Icky Falls. Anyway, there's a story on YouTube about a family that pulls in there and does the bolt from a yowie sighting. Yep. And then there's a hybrid. Have you heard that story?
Yep, I have. Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, if people listen out there, go to YouTube and search up Coonabarabran Yowie story with the Highway Patrol, who apparently left the job afterwards. Now, that's some fucking scary shit, right?
Yeah. And there's other ones, like there was one, a truck he pulled up, he had a flat tyre and he pulled up in the Pilliga Scrub, because the Hickey Falls is on the other side of town to the Pilliga Scrub. But this truck he's pulled up in the Pilliga to fix his tyre, and apparently this big ass thing come out and started, roaring around and scared the shit out of him. And he drove from wherever he was out in the Pilliga into town with no fucking tyres on his truck.
I think I've heard that story too, eh?
That was another story, yeah. But we never saw one. We had times out there because we used to camp in the Pilliga Scrub and that. And we had times out there where you just get that feeling, you know, when the back of the hairs stand up on the back of your neck and everything goes fucking quiet, mate. Like that's when something's around. It's time to go. And it happens, mate. The whole scrub just goes dead quiet.
Yep.
And you get this feeling like, fuck, we got to go. There's
So
something around
the
here.
local Aboriginal people call it the dog man or something like that?
Oh, yeah, something like that. I can't remember now, but they did have a name for it, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, look, I've worked for the Secret Society out at Canamble, just up the road from Coonabarabran, and I've driven through from Dubbo back to Canamble at 1 or 2 in the morning by myself. And you know what, man, if you let your mind start getting the better of you,
it does, mate.
You start looking around and seeing shit that just doesn't exist, and you might be busting for a wee and you think, there's no fucking way I'm stopping to take a leak on the side of the road.
No, I wouldn't. And I remember when I started truck driving, interstate truck driving, I'd be driving through there, you know, 2 or 3 in the morning. No fucking way I was stopping.
Yeah. So you've done interstate truck driving. I always had this dream when I was a kid that I'd drive a semi-trailer with a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken on the passenger seat beside me, and I would just be cruising down the highway, fucking 18-wheeler, look at me, fucking sucking on Kentucky Fried Chicken, loving life, but never driven one.
It's good for a short while, mate.
Yeah. So we'll go on the farm. So you would camp and that. So went to school. Like, did you end up going to private boarding school like a lot of kids do on
when
farms?
I was on the station, living on the station?
Yeah.
I went to a little school in a tiny little village called Woolbrook. And Woolbrook was just pretty much half a dozen houses and a railway line. There was nothing there.
Yep.
And my school, it had 23 kids from kindergarten to year 6 in it.
Yeah, righto.
Two teachers.
Yep.
My teacher he taught year 3 to 6, and he was a principal as well.
Yeah.
And I actually used to travel to school with him because we lived. It was about an hour's drive.
So he'd pick you up on the way?
He'd pick me up on the side of the highway. Mum would take me up to the side of the highway. He'd pick me up. He had a little Datsun 1200 ute.
Yep.
Tiny little ute, and we'd motor on in there. And, it was the best days, mate. That teacher, that teacher changed my life. I think he turned me around. I was a bit of a prick when I was younger, but he definitely turned me around. And, it was great. And I remember
So when you say you're a bit of a prick when younger, did you just have a shit attitude? Like you just hated everyone? Was there a particular reason when you look back and think?
I think I was just a bastard. I hated school. I hated everything, mate. I think I was just a prick.
And then you got to that school.
Yeah.
And he sort of like turned it around for you.
He used to teach like school-based classes, but he used to just teach real life stuff.
Yeah,
like, you know, there'd be some days where, you know, he'd tee it up and he'd say, "Kids, we're not doing school today. We're going fishing," and he'd take the whole fucking school down the river and we'd fish all day, just shit like that. Or we'd have cricket days and we'd play cricket all day and that. But he was really just a different bloke, mate. He was awesome guy.
Did you ever see him at a later date when growing up and said, "Man, you actually turned it around for me"? I
found him on social media and sent him a message, but he never saw the message.
Oh, okay.
So I've never been able to see him again. I know he's retired now and I know where he lives, but I've never seen him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is he still out there in the middle of nowhere?
He's Uralla.
Oh, yeah. Where's Uralla? That's up near Armidale, isn't it?
Yeah. It's about 20 k's from Armidale. Up in Thunderbolt country.
So you finished year 6. Where did you do high school then?
We went back to Coonabarabran.
Oh, okay. So your dad finished up on the farm?
Mum kept, Dad stayed there for another year or 2.
Yep.
And Mum and I went back to Coonabarabran. Mum kept the house. My brother lived in the house while we were away.
Yep.
Back to Coonabarabran High School and sort of picked up with my old mates. And
so you went back to Coonabarabran for high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. Yep. And back to the Coona High. It was high school days were probably the best days of my life there. It was
had
awesome.
A good time. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because that would be a pretty big population of school, wouldn't it? Like from people all around Coonabarabran, like come from Barradine and all that way.
400. Had close to 400 kids in it when I was.
I thought there might have been a bit more than that, eh?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that big. Yeah. But it was a good size. Yeah, bloody good days, mate. We especially, you know, once we got into sort of 16 and above, it was, you know, drinking piss and partying and ducking burnouts, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, doing manies.
yeah. We had it was a good time. Yeah,
it's creaching up the back way to Gilgandra, that dirt. What's that big dirt road that used to go? Was it Coonabarabran to go out through the back way to sort of Gill? or Galaganbone.
There's one that goes up through like the Warrumbungle National Park.
That dirt road, yeah.
Up through, I think it's like, is it Turawina or something like that?
Yeah, Turawina, and
yeah.
I nearly bought a house out. I nearly bought a house out near Turawina.
Oh, did you?
I nearly bought 10 acres out the back of Gilgandra, like just a little chunk of a wheat, like a fucking property, and they'd obviously cut off 10 acres, but the house was not really up to code. I think the electrical wiring was done with extension cords. That was like, you know what I mean. It was pretty. It was So anyway,
you'd be right.
Yeah, I kept having dreams about that place, and something was telling me, "Fucking don't buy it." And when wife and I decided not to buy it, the dream stopped. So someone out there in the universe was telling me, "Do not buy that particular property."
It was a death trap or something, probably.
Yeah. So you finished high school in Coona, and where'd you go from there?
I joined the Air Force straight away.
Yep. Year 12 or year 10?
Year 12.
Yep.
I finished year 12. Pointless that I did, because I made nothing of it. I just wasted my time pretty much. But I had in my mind, probably from the end of year 10 onwards, that I wanted to join the RAAF.
Yep.
Always wanted to fly, so always wanted to be a pilot, but I told myself I couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Where did that come from, you think, the desire to be a pilot? Like, what did it come? Do you have a particular moment?
From my brother, 100% from my brother. He went from a little boy. He taught me to look up.
Yeah.
We'd always. I remember times with my brother. Out the farm, out in Green's farm. If it was dark, we'd be looking at the stars, and in the daytime, we'd be looking at the clouds. And as soon as a plane flew over, that's such and such a plane. And he taught me to look up. And he actually left. Because he's 15 years older than me. He left when I was pretty young to Bankstown to start his pilot's license.
Oh, okay, yep.
But unfortunately, he didn't finish it. He's a fireman now.
Yep.
But it come from him, mate. Yeah.
Yep.
And probably since I was 10 years old, I reckon.
You just had a desire to fly.
Wanted to fly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your brother. Sorry, just to interrupt. Your brother being 15 years older, is he a different father, or your mum and dad just decided?
Yeah. So. I have stepbrothers and sisters. Okay, so mum and dad were both married previously.
Yep.
So on dad's side, I have a brother who sadly he's not with us anymore. He took his life a long time ago.
Yeah.
And a sister, she's still around. She's actually down your way. She lives at Penrith.
Yep.
And then on mum's side, I've got two sisters and my brother on that side. So I just call them all sisters and brothers.
Yeah. So there's the fairly big family. Are you the youngest out of all them?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I am. Yeah. I'm 44. My next sister up, I think she's 50. She just turned 50.
Oh, so, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Righto.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a gap there. So,
your brother went off to become a pilot, but didn't end up finishing the course.
That's right.
And you went off to the RAAF. What did you join the RAAF as?
I joined as a avionics technician.
Yep.
So I had this grand plan that I was going to get my trade and then try and transition into flying later on.
Yep.
Either way, they got like flying clubs and that, so you can get your license cheap, outside of the RAAF.
Yeah.
But that was my grand plan. So I joined as an avtech. I wanted to work on the F-111s.
Oh yeah, they're cool. Yep.
They're a beast. So that was what I did, mate. And they had the best avionics pretty much in the world at the time, as far as I understand.
So when you were at Coonabarabran, how does someone from Coonabarabran end up in the RAAF? Did you send them I was going to say send them an email. There's no bloody emails back then, was there? Did you ring up someone? Was there somewhere?
Was all over the phone.
Yep. So you rang them up.
Phone and mail. Yep. I never saw anyone face to face until I went for my medical in Sydney.
Yep.
That was the first time I saw anyone.
Did they fly down or bus you?
Flew down.
Yeah, cool.
I had to fly myself.
Yep. Oh, they made you pay for it.
Yeah.
Tightwads.
Yeah. That was the first time. Actually, that was the first time I'd ever been in a plane.
Yeah, and did that first time in a plane? Did that just cement your desire to? I've got to fucking. I need to do this. Yeah.
So the pilot, it was a Piper Navajo, a twin engine Piper. I think it was like 12-seater or something like that. And the pilot was my brother's mate.
Oh, righto. Yep.
So he stuck me up in the front seat.
Yep.
So that was cool. And then coming back.
Completely not allowed these days with the laws of fucking aviation and terrorism.
Coming back, same thing. He stuck me in the front seat coming back, and we took off from Sydney. We flew to Gunnedah. dropped a few people off, picked a few up, and then took off from Gunnedah. And he just said, "All right, mate, you can steer it home." So here I am, 17-year-old little prick,
Yeah.
steering this plane full of passengers home.
Yeah.
People had no idea, but that was it. That was the first time.
Yeah.
And I remember saying when we landed in Coonabarabran, I remember saying that day, the next time I land at Coonabarabran Airport, I'm going to fly myself.
Yep.
Yeah. It took me 20 years to get there.
Well, it will take us about 45 minutes to an hour to get there. Yeah, cool. So you ended up realising that dream of flying into Coonabarabran. I won't go into that now. We'll get to that because I want to hear. I want to hear what sort of emotions you were feeling when you were flying in there and that kind of stuff. So we'll go back to. So you show up for your medical for the RAAF. What year was that you joined the RAAF?
I joined in 99.
99, yeah, because I joined. I was in the Navy in 90, so it was probably a similar. You know, you go there, have your medical, you do some testing, you speak to the psychologist.
That's it. Yep.
I'm not sure I think we spoke to Army psychologists when
we had RAAF psychologists. Yeah, we did all the medical. You know, they check your nuts and poke your bumhole and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
and,
that's a bit of a weird one, that, eh? Like, I get the whole bend over and cough, but like cough to see if you've got a hernia, but they ask you to bend over and pull your cheeks apart, and I'm not sure what that. I don't know if they asked you to do that. Don't tell me they didn't fucking ask you to do that, Jason.
They did, man.
Oh, good. I was going to say it fucking might have just been me. But what are they looking for? See if me bloody
contraband. I don't know.
That's what I thought. Like it's like
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And then really you had to duck walk across the room and do push-ups in your undies so they could make sure your muscles were developing the way they were. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was the last thing that I got asked, I was in the office with the guy and he looked at some pictures of ships. He said, "What ship's that?" And I thought, looking at it, I said, "It's a destroyer escort." He said, "Yeah, no worries, mate." And I think that was him and then he said, "Yeah, you're in, you'll get a letter soon." Is that sort of how it was with you? Did you find out that day or?
No. I actually, I went back home and heard nothing. And then I got a phone call. It was sort of like, because that was like October when I was doing that. I got a phone call in December and she just started rattling off all, start dates and all that. And I went, "Hang on a minute, have I been accepted?" And she's like, "Oh, haven't you been told?" And I was like, No, I haven't been told. And she's like, "Oh, fuck, you got to be in bloody Adelaide in 2 weeks."
Oh, shit. So you went,
that was how just like me letter of acceptance didn't turn up. I don't know what happened.
Yep.
I just sort of found out in a phone call. I think they must have just rang up to see, "Well, where the fuck are you?" We haven't heard nothing from you.
We haven't heard from it, yeah. Do you reckon that was a good thing, but to get 2 weeks' notice and just go, "Oh, fuck, I'm going"?
Yeah.
Or like rather than find out 6 months ago and then spend 6 months going, "Fuck, come on, I want to go."
Probably yes or no, but yeah. I mean, in hindsight, I wasn't ready.
Yep.
I wasn't ready to join the RAAF, mate. I don't know what you'd say. I was maybe too soft. I got really homesick when I left and just wasn't ready for it. So I don't know, maybe I didn't have enough time to build up to it.
Yeah, maybe. I remember my dad saying to me when I went into the Navy, he said, "Look, you could, it's probably going to be the only place you go to where you can sit in a scran hall with 1,000 people and feel like you're completely by yourself."
Yeah.
And so I sort of had that sort of like warning before I got there to expect that sort of thing. So you got quite homesick, did you? Did you? And you got
yeah.
So you got through the basic training all right, or?
No, I didn't, mate. I was only very, very short time there. So I went in, I think it was like end of January 99. And by end of April, I was discharged.
Oh, okay.
So I had a serious back injury. I busted my back. I'd started and I got really homesick and pretty down on it. And I decided to quit.
Yep.
So I went to my instructor and said, "That's it, I've had enough. I want out. I want to discharge." And he sort of pulled me aside and he's like, "Mate, don't waste your opportunity now." And he sort of said, "This is not what the RAAF is." He said, "It's just the shit you got to deal with now." And it was good, and that turned me around. And I thought, I clicked and I thought, no, I'm gonna see this through.
Yep.
And literally like 2 weeks later, bang, I was in hospital, and it was sort of I was shattered.
Yeah.
So,
what can I ask? What happened to your back?
Yeah. So we'd done it was just a routine training exercise. We'd done a pack march. Like we used to do 6K marches with a loaded pack on your back and that sort of thing. And we'd done that. We were were wrecked, and they're like, we got back to a point, and they said, right, packs off, we're going to do some weight training. So they had us in a circle, and we're basically, they had us bent 90 degrees at the waist, and we're lifting barbells, like the big long barbells that you lift weights with. We were lifting them, just empty, mate, no weights on them, just empty barbell, and bang, my back just went.
Just pop. And what was the diagnosis of that?
So it took me a long time to get to that. They told me I had a minor disc bulge.
Yep.
And fobbed it off. But it turned out I had one disc was totally, so two discs. I had one disc was totally gone. It was totally shattered and gone. I had bone on bone, and the one below it the disc was fractured, and basically the insides, like the gel insides, whatever the disc is, was just blowing out. So,
so you were in too much pain to finish the training?
Yeah, so I spent a fair bit of time in hospital, and then once you miss a certain amount of time, you get back coursed. So you have to go back and start again with a whole new intake. I was in hospital for a fair bit. I remember laying in hospital on Anzac Day, and watching the jets take off from the base to go and do their flyover in Adelaide. I got out of hospital, and I marched about 100 metres, and I was back in hospital.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then it sort of got to the stage where look, it doesn't matter. It got to the stage where I was going to go, so it was either medically discharge or discharge myself.
Yep.
And I took some advice from them, mate. They told me if I'm medically discharged, I'd basically be sitting in a box of a room for up to 18 months while it was processed.
Yep.
And once that happened, that was it.
Yep.
But they said, on the other hand, if you discharge yourself, we can give you some assistance to get fixed up, and you can reapply and come back.
Yep.
So I did that. I had no 18-year-old kid. I had no other sort of guidance or anything like that. So I just took their advice. Yeah. And I discharged myself.
Yeah, look, man, that you're not the only person. I was in the Navy with a lot of guys that as a 52-year-old with some life experience, I look back and them saying, I've injured myself. They've said, their dream is to be a sailor. You know what I mean? Their whole fucking life is to be a sailor. And they get told, if you self-discharge, we'll have you back when your injuries get better. Yep. And I look at that at 52, and if my son come home and said that to me, I'd say, you know what, they're fucking lying to you.
Yep.
You make them discharge you. If they think you can come back, you tell them to fucking get you better and take it. Really makes me cranky, as you can probably tell. I'm getting a bit fucking up, and I don't want to blame the Defence Force because I don't know anything else, but that fucking story, Jason, I've heard a million times from people I was in defence with, and it just shits me off, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and so have I now. I've heard the same thing, but, oh, man, fucking looking back, as soon as you drive out that front gate, you know what it's like. They just wave the two-finger salute at you and go, well, fuck, you're on your own now.
Yeah, yep. And have you had any assistance from DVA, like over the years, for your back? Did they pay to get...
So I had... it was about 6 years, mate. I had to take them to court.
Yep.
To get anything.
Yeah.
And during that time, that would have been when I first met you, Nick.
Yeah, I was going to say that was... I don't talk about the company I work for because of their fucking policies and that, but I met you up on the north coast of New South Wales, and we met. Our wives became really good friends, and still friends, really good friends to this day. And look, I imagine, Jason, if you didn't live in Queensland, if you lived in the mountains or I lived in Queensland, we would probably have been at each other's house probably every other weekend for a dinner or a barbecue. So you would have had to put up with me for a little bit, more.
That's not such a bad thing.
And look, it would have been, you look at those sort of things, you think it'd be nice to live around friends that close with so you can actually do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I met you. And I remember you telling me that story one day for dinner. And even then I thought, oh, those fucking assholes have told this guy too.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether I can get in trouble for saying that on a podcast or not, but it just happened to a lot of people. And if you read all the DVA sites now, there's a lot of people asking for retrospective discharges many years after they've been discharged, and they're all getting proven.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other fucking mental.
Yeah, it's a rabbit warren in it when you start going down that.
Yeah, so we met, and you were always in pain. Like you were in pain, and you were taking tablets, and you were just in pain 24/7.
So those years that you first knew me, I was a fucking drug addict. to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I was the shit I was taking, mate. I was on oxy and morphine and
Yep.
tramadol, and
Yeah.
I was on everything. I was on everything.
And look, that it's not your fault that you.
No,
It's
that's
another.
right.
It's a whole other fucking podcast. But
Yep.
you get given all this medication. You keep
Yep.
saying, "Yeah, you got back pain. You got back pain."
Yep.
And I'm not sure if it happened to you, but one day you're walking to a doctor and goes, "Oh, you're taking too much of that shit. I'm not giving you any."
Didn't happen until I had my surgery.
Yep.
Yep. So that was a course of 6 years. So I got hurt in '99. I had my surgery in 2005.
So you were just on the pain relief.
On the pain relief. I don't know if you remember or not. I was on a walking stick.
Yeah, I do actually. Yep, I do remember you being on a walking stick. You were fucking basically crippled.
20-year-old kid on a walking stick.
Yeah, in pain, 24/7.
In pain, yeah. And I wanted out, mate. As negative as it sounds, I wanted out of the world.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. It's probably my wife, mate, was what kept me going. She's been my saviour.
Yep, she got you through that, like those dark times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were dark. Yeah. And there's been a lot of time since then too. So it affects people, mate. It affects people differently when something like that happens to them. And I don't think obviously people in a defence are told what they're told to do, and that, but they don't realise.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of stories about vets. You could go on forever for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll just put a little disclaimer there. If you're having any trouble, reach out to someone you know.
Yeah.
Ring Lifeline. I'll put the number in the end of the show. But you know what, Jason? Everyone I speak to on this show has gone through some dark times.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And and thankfully, most people come through it and are better for it. And when they're sort of like 45, pushing 50, or like me, 52, you start looking back at that. And I guess you talk about it more these days. I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I'm 52. I'll tell everyone what problems are, and the hope that someone might go, you know what, I've had that issue. I'll go and see someone. Or
likewise.
Yeah. So was any counselling available for you then?
No, nothing.
Yep.
Nothing at all.
Because you also had the business that you were running in town too, which didn't turn out to be a viable business option. So you had back pain 24/7. You got a fucking business that's
business, and I was working full time as well. I was just doing I was a spare parts guy, so I was working behind a counter. But my lunch break used to be upstairs asleep. Yeah, because I was off my head,
your face on endone and
pretty much.
Yep. Yeah. Did the endone and that allow you to be able to walk around like it? Apart from becoming dependent on it, did it actually help the pain that you're suffering?
No. All it does is it just makes you say, it just puts a thought in your mind. You don't give a fuck.
Yep.
All you're doing is waiting for that next tablet at night time or in the morning.
So you're looking at the clock thinking, okay, 4 hours.
It doesn't take the pain away. It doesn't take the pain away. And the pain was bad. I couldn't, I lost feeling in my left foot. So all of my left leg and my left foot, I had no feeling, and it was down to about the knee on my right side.
Yep.
So it's just everything you do, everything in life was just affected by it.
Yeah.
And that went on for 6 years. I'd be going to their doctors, and time and time again they'd say there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You're full of shit. And then I finally found on my own. I found a surgeon here on the Gold Coast, and he did some tests on me. And he's like, "Man, I can fix you now."
Yep.
But the DVA back then, or Veterans Affairs, they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah.
So it was only just by chance that the guy I was working for, my boss, his cousin became our local member for Parliament.
Yep.
And he took my case and basically threw it on the Minister for Veterans Affairs desk.
Yep.
And within a week, I had an apology letter and I was on the operating table.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and look, I remember when you went for that operation, and anyway, we'll hear the story of whether it was a success or not. But anyway, I'll tell you. Yeah. So anyway, keep going. You had the operation.
Yeah, I had the operation. So I was.
What was the operation you were going to get?
I had disc replacement surgery. So I've got artificial discs put in. So that was 2005. I was one of the first. I think there was a group of 15 because the surgeon that did my surgery, he did like a 15-year study on us. So I was one of the first people in Australia to have multi-level disc replacement done. Yep. So I had 2 discs done at the same time. And I was the first to have the procedure done under Department of Veterans Affairs, funded by Veterans Affairs. So it was a bit of a milestone. And I went from like how you knew me on a walking stick and wrecked to within like 48 hours, I was walking up 4 flights of stairs.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. I remember that. And I remember talking to Kez about it and actually thinking, fuck, how good's that? Like it's, and then did it take you long to stop taking the pain relief? Was that a difficult thing?
So that was the hardest part, and my surgeon took me off cold turkey.
Yeah.
So I pretty much come out of the anaesthetic and was asking for it.
Yep.
And they're like, no, it's been locked up.
Yeah.
Because I'd snuck it into the hospital. I put it in my bag. I was taking it in. I was taking it. And anyway, and Kate, my wife, she'd given them all the drugs. She's like, oh, he's got his shit in his bag. So they took all that, locked it up, and it was pretty much 4 days of hallucinating.
Yeah.
No.
Did they say to you at any point that, look, Jason, you've become very physically and psychologically dependent, this medication, you just have to fucking live with it now? You don't?
No, they never said. They never said. And that was, I'd wake up screaming and asking for it, and they'd be on the phone all the time to the surgeon, can we give him this shit? And he'd, no.
He's not having it.
No way. And then it was like literally, I think it must have been about day 4, there was a night shift nurse on and a new one, and I'd convinced her to go and get this stuff out of the cupboard. And I was like, it's labelled in the cupboard. She found it. Yeah. She went away, and by the time she come back, I'd fallen asleep.
Oh, so you didn't take it?
I didn't take it, and then I woke up day 5.
That's one of those fucking serendipitous moments, man, that you you fucking look back and there's 2 doors. He falls asleep, he fucking wakes up and takes a tablet.
Yep.
You never know you will never know if you took that tablet.
Yep.
You might.
And that was it, mate. That was I don't know, man. It was meant to be. That was just a changing point. And then at day 5, I woke up and I didn't want it anymore. It was just fucking bizarre. But the 4 days leading up to it, fuck. Yeah.
What about now, like 20 years later?
Yeah.
If you went to the hospital with a busted arm, or you said you have a shoulder operation, is it something that you'll be concerned about taking? Excuse me real quick whilst I drop an ad on you, and then we'll be back to the show. Hey, East Coast Average listeners, if you're a cat lover searching for a T-shirt that combines creativity with style, check out graphicoasisco.com. There you'll find unique designs featuring whimsical cats, steampunk themes, and inspirational quotes. Each shirt there is made with vibrant colours, sharp lines, and you'll look fantastic while showcasing your personality. So go and visit graphicoasisco.com and use East Coast Averages at checkout to get 15% off your first order. Elevate your wardrobe with graphicoasisco.com. Let your shirt do the talking.
There's been times where but I still get some pain, and there's been times where I just think, fuck, it'd be just easier just to, just to have a Panadine Forward, or something with a bit of good stuff.
Yep.
But no, I've never done it. Never. Yeah, and I don't think these days that the doctors won't prescribe shit like that much.
They will prescribe it, but they certainly won't keep giving it to you. Like they'll say, look, it's been 3 days since operation. You probably need to be off that now. And look, shit. I imagine if you had taken that tablet, which way it could have fucking gone. And I remember Kate talking.
Started again.
Yeah, I remember Kate. Yeah. I think I remember Kate talking to Kez about it or something. But anyway, I was really happy to hear that you'd fucking. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know you real well then, but I just remember thinking, fuck, he's got his back fixed, and he's not walking with the cane anymore. And
and life changed overnight. Sort of was the doors opened up again. I could go and get a better job and. Start doing things. It was so much better. So and since then, I've had rare occurrences, and it gives me shit now as I'm getting older. It gives me shit.
Yep.
But then you were talking about DVA before. I got nothing from them.
Yeah.
I didn't even. It was like 15 years later until I got a white card.
Yeah. Yep. You should put a claim in, eh? Because there'd probably be some residual psychological damage there, man. Like I don't know. Sometimes you think, is it worth it? But it just shits me. Like I was getting a bit fucking crappy before when they said discharge. I just remember a bloke in the Navy who was pushing a fucking heavy cart and did all his discs, and they said the same to him. Yeah, and it didn't fucking sit real well with me at the time. I just thought there's something about that, man. Look, my brother's a quadriplegic. Broke his neck in the army. Maybe I'd heard Dad talking about, because there were certain things they want to do as compensation where my dad just said no, because he'll fucking last like 2 years and have no money because of the amount of care he needs. But so look, I don't know. But you know, the funny thing is, man, if one of my kids wanted to join the military again, I'd fucking pat them on the back and send them off with a fucking. Even after hearing all these stories and what I went through myself, I would just say, fucking off you go.
I'm in the same boat now. So my youngest daughter's she's in year 11 at school and she's studying hard to join ADFA. She wants to join the Defence Force Academy, and I'm like, fucking go and do it.
Yeah, do it. Well, my daughter's mentioned she wouldn't mind joining the Navy. I'm like, fucking off you go. I'll sign you over. Like it's funny, isn't it?
Look, you know, they screwed me, and I had a bad experience, but I still think it's a good thing, mate.
So do I.
Defence is a good thing.
Yeah. So you did you consider going back to the RAAF and saying, hey, I'm fixed, let me back in? No, that was done. Yep.
I didn't. It was a missed opportunity. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Maybe I should have, but nah. Sort of. I don't know. You get pretty torched by it. And life just goes on. You know, life changes. So it just. I'd met my wife in the middle of it, and we'd started having kids and that, and things just change. You just get different priorities. So
I remember seeing you outside Lismore Base Hospital. I think my son had been born, and you were there about 2 days later.
2 days later,
whatever you do, tell her to take the fucking pain relief. Tell her take the fucking.
She fucking spat the gas out, mate. So me being with me busted back, I was sitting in the corner hooking into the gas. She's trying to deliver this kid over 14 hours, and I was getting ripped off this gas.
Yeah, fucking hell. Great. That's great. So then you owned a spare part shop, which didn't work out.
That's right.
Which you lost a little bit of money on. And I do remember thinking, fuck, how much bad luck can this dude have? Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean? I genuinely fucking liked both of you and just thought, fuck, give these guys just let something fucking good happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which set you back for a few years.
Oh, fuck yeah, about 10 years.
Yeah, financially and that. Like,
that was a balls up. Our whole family, mate, we went into business as a family, and that's probably one of the golden rules. You don't go into business as family. With family. Yeah. So we all suffered, but that was my reason, or our reason, for leaving the North Coast to move to Brisbane.
Yep.
Just chasing some dollars and trying to.
And look, I remember, I feel like I'm fucking been stalking you, but I remember when you bought your house and I thought, fuck, they're finally getting somewhere, man. I felt really good that you were getting somewhere, right? Because Kate has spoken to Kez on the weekly for years and years and years. So I sort of know what's going on in your life, but I don't really know what's going on. So so you moved to the North Coast and you got a job driving trucks.
So I started in mining. So
that's right. You were blowing shit up in mining for a while, weren't you?
Trucks. Yeah. So it was funny. I couldn't get a job in a bread truck, but they gave me a job as a green truck driver, carting around fucking explosives.
Yep.
And I went from there. So I started driving trucks with basically carting ammonium nitrate.
Yep.
And then moved on to be the shot firer, which is, so we were blasting in the mines.
Yep.
A shot firer is the guy that gets to push the button at the end of the day.
Was this like a fly-in to a mine sort of thing?
It started here locally in Brisbane. The company I was working for did all the hard rock quarries.
Yep.
Around southeast Queensland. And then I left there and went to a coal mine in Blackwater. That was fly in, fly out.
Yep.
First job I've ever walked away from.
Didn't like it out there? Didn't like
It was full of broken promises, pretty much.
Oh, right. So you didn't get what was on the contract. The advertising didn't live up to it.
Not at all. So, not at all. So that was the first job. I got to the gate one morning, and I just went, no, fuck this, boys. Take me back. And I just hopped in the car. And I was in a car that was supposed to be fly in, fly out, but I had to drive at that time. And I just drove home. And I got 500 k's down the road, and they rang me saying, where the fuck are you?
So your job sucks, I'm going home.
I quit 6 hours ago.
Fucking
first job ever quit. So
but
I came back to
the truck driving. Surprisingly, there's a lot of work out there for truck drivers, isn't there? Like it's not that hard to get work.
There's wheels to turn anywhere now
with the licenses that you've got.
Yeah, wheels to turn anywhere. So I came back to the previous job I had back here in the quarries. They took me straight back on and stayed there for another year or so, and then had this fucking crazy idea that I wanted to go truck driving. So I started interstate truck driving.
Mate, I've had that crazy idea my entire. I'd fucking love to. Like I said, I you know what I mean. I see those shows where they're driving trucks across the Nullarbor out in the middle of the fucking back of Australia, and I've never driven a truck. Right? I don't have the license. I've never fucking been in one. I've never driven it, but I've just got this fucking. I don't know. just sort of, I just want to be driving a big fucking road train through the middle of nowhere.
It's fun and games for 5 minutes.
And then,
then you got to have it in your blood. You got to have diesel in your blood, they say.
So you did interstate driving. How was that?
Yeah, it was good for a while. Well, yeah, I didn't do it for long. It was good for a while. I used to do 2 trips from Brisbane to Dubbo and return.
Yep.
And then the third trip used to be Brisbane to Parkes and back. So be doing changeovers.
So that's per week?
Per week. So it's about 5,000 Ks a week I was doing, which is, it's pretty standard for an interstate driver.
Was that overnighters or?
Yep. Yeah. I'd leave Brisbane sort of 8 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Get into Dubbo about, 6 or 7 the next morning.
Yep.
Just humping all night.
And what, for people who don't know the ins and outs of that industry, was there much pressure, on when you're driving down the road and you're driving, I don't know, fucking down the highway on a single lane highway and you're humping along at 100, 105, probably, just your standard, and you get a truck coming up behind you.
Yeah.
Were they in you to get out of me fucking way?
Yeah.
Was it a real sort of aggressive workplace from other truckies or?
They're not aggressive. No, not so much to each other. It's a little bit different now, but back then, everyone was sort of, you all work together. So you see old mate coming up and he's got we call him a bit longer legs. He's a bit quicker than you. And, we'd wait for a spot and call him around. Yeah, right.
So you'd help each other. So it was more like you'd help each other out than be at each other. Like, get out of my way.
Absolutely.
I'm in a fucking hurry.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because that's what people would have you believe happens if you read the press and listen to the radios and watch the news reports and you're not in the trucking industry. You're led to believe that it's fucking quite dog eat dog. So you know what I mean? So that's all bullshit?
No, the guys on the road are all good, mate, yeah. So that attitude sort of changed a bit, and a bit of the old school sort of ways, it's not there anymore. But back then, it was pretty good, eh?
Did you have any close calls? Because a lot of truckies have lost their lives over the years to drive in the
Yeah, I did. I had one night. I was out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. It's sort of between. I was out near Gundawindi, middle of nowhere, and it was sort of almost on the stroke of midnight. I had one foot on the dash. I remember I was on cruise control, and the steer tyre, so my right hand front tyre blew out, and it just fucking exploded. And when it did, it tore off pretty much everything that stuck out past the paint on that side of the truck. Just fucking ripped everything off, and the truck just shot straight across the road, straight across the oncoming lane.
Oh, fuck! So you're lucky if someone was coming. That's fucking lights out.
Well, there was, and I went across the road into the bush on the opposite side, and then I pulled it back onto the road, like it stayed on its wheels. And then as I was coming back across to my side of the road, a bloke in a Hilux had come the other way.
Oh, fucking
And he saw what happened and he stopped. And I remember just seeing his lights just flash past my window and fuel tank on the right-hand side. And then I ended up in the bush on the left-hand side.
Yep.
And, he had a radio in his ute. He's called me. He's like, fuck, man, you're right there. And I was like, yeah, sorry, mate, I nearly got you. And he's like, you should fucking see the road. There's bits of your truck everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I finally got out, it was just fucking shit everywhere. I was lucky, mate, to keep it on its wheels then.
Yep. So what do you do then? Like, you've had that incident in a big truck stuck in the middle of nowhere. They're expecting to see you at Dubbo at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
What do you get on a satellite phone or?
No, I had no phone reception.
Yeah. So what do you do? Get on the CBs? Can everyone hear this? It's got phone reception?
Yeah. So another guy called me and he's like, you need a hand, mate. I was like, yeah, fuck. You reckon you can, send a shout out to me boss and get a tyre man out here? And he took a phone number and drove up the road to where I had reception and called me boss and that's how we organised it.
So you just sat there waiting, thinking, well...
Sat there for 4 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. Blokes would pull up, you all right, this and that, and it was all good. But, just sat there and waited, and then...
Hope you had your bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken with you for something to eat.
Mate, I used to spend the whole night literally fucking Red Bull, Chico rolls and cigarettes.
Yeah, serious. You still smoking now? No, gave them up? Yeah, good.
I could pick them up and put them down whenever I want.
Yeah, see, I can't. See, I'm one's too many, thousand's not enough. And I haven't smoked for over 20 years. I could still sometimes, man, I'll look at someone smoking, I think, oh, fuck, I could go one of those right now. But I don't,
It's always when the beers come out, like I'll have a cigar.
Yep.
I'll have a chuff on a cigar, but then it's the same thing. You wake up in the morning, you got those stinky fingers, and I'm like, no, fuck that. So I got my new tyre on the truck, and then got to Gundawindi, which was another couple of hours down the road. And I called my boss and I was like, man, like, I can't even fucking see your trailers. You know, the mirror's ripped off the truck and
Yep.
it's wrecked. And he just said, mate, those trailers have got to be there at 6 a.m.
So
Just
it's
keep
basically
going.
fucking keep on trucking, Sonny
Just kept
Jim.
trucking.
Yep.
Just kept trucking. Yeah, he
Yep.
was pretty hard. Yeah, pretty hard. So yeah, that was one time. And then what made me sort of give away the interstate, you know, I was just young and dumb and couldn't handle my fatigue and that. And I'd fell asleep one night
Shit.
and woke up at the noise of another B double going past my window.
Oh, shit.
And I still had all my spotlights on, and he was up me. He's like, "Fuck, you're scared of the dark, mate. You know, turn your lights off." And I thought, "Fuck, you know, this has got to stop." So
you reckon you're actually asleep or having like a micro sleep? Because if you're still steering, was it like one of those?
I've had whole trips, mate, whole nights where I can't remember. I'm sort of thinking back, saying, "Fuck, where did I stop? You know, how did I get here?" Like you just
Look in your logbook. Fuck.
You just forget everything. You fucking forget everything. But yeah, that's what happened. And I thought, no, I'm going to kill someone. You know, if it's not myself. So I give up the interstate driving and come back to local driving, and that's where I started driving fuel tankers. So I drive fuel tankers now, and I've been doing that for 15 years now.
Yeah, I thought it'd been so. Was it good money driving interstate trucks?
No,
it wasn't. I thought it would be good money. I always thought that might be all right money.
You got to do a shitload of Ks.
Yeah,
shitload of Ks. But I was getting like 42 cents per kilometre.
Oh, right,
That's a kilometre rate. So
yep.
you know, I don't know. I guess you do 1,000 Ks, you get $400 before tax. So.
I didn't know they paid you per kilometre. They still do that?
Yeah,
or?
some do, and some pay an hourly rate.
Oh, right, eh? I had no idea that fucking some truckies out there are on a kilometre rate.
Most of the interstaters, mate, are all kilometre rate. So.
No wonder they're fucking in a hurry to get somewhere then.
Yeah, it's fucked, mate. It is. And, you know, you get an accident where they're parked for 2 hours, they ain't getting paid.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Wheels have got to be turned.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm
so
serious.
If you fucking break down or there's an accident, like on the highway, something that's closed because of something's happened, they're not getting paid.
That's right.
Fuck, that's bullshit,
right.
man.
Yep. And then, you know,
that's just fucking, that's, I don't know, man, that's a shitty way to make it.
It is. It's a shitty way, yeah. Like it's good money when the Ks are clocking up, but yeah, like, you know, and then, you know, you take annual leave or something like that, then your pay reverts back to like a base rate, and that base rate might be $20 an hour.
Yeah, that's
so you go take a week off and you get fucking $500. You know, it's just that's shit in that way. So you got to be working all the time.
Yep. What about owning your own truck? Did you ever consider buying a truck, or is it just way the price of a truck is just way fucking too expensive?
I'm not a truckie, man.
It's a means to an ends, mate.
Yeah, I'd be one of those blokes that I'd drive it all week and then I'd be stressing about it breaking down while I'm off on the weekend. Or I couldn't do it. It's just easier to shut the door and walk away at the end of the day.
Yeah, hang the keys up. Someone else's problem to worry about what load's coming and all that kind of shit. Because you drive B doubles.
Yeah, B double. Yeah.
Can you fucking reverse them?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at reversing a trailer, but is it fucking harder to reverse a B double?
It's harder to reverse a B double because they articulate in the centre.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a semi-trailer, it's easier to back a semi-trailer than it is a box trailer on your car.
Oh, right,
So the longer it is, the easier it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Because I watched some guys, I've got my local shops here to get into the IGA to deliver. It's pretty fucking tricky. And some of them just go fucking pull in there. And I think, fucking hell, man, you've all... But yeah, so
it's an art, mate. Yeah, it's definitely an art. Yeah. I don't have to do it that often, thank Christ. But yeah, no, it can be done. But yeah,
because I can. I'm one of these truckies nightmares driving around in my caravan. But I'm a big believer in not fucking driving at night. Just let the highways to the fucking trucks. You know what I mean? Staff the roads between 10 p.m. at night, especially the highways out in the middle of nowhere. 10 p.m. at night, 6 o'clock in the morning. Just let the fucking truckies do their business. Stay out of their way.
That's it.
Don't fucking drive. But my brother drives buses, and he drives those bendy buses through the middle of Sydney.
Yeah.
And I've gone away and holidays with him, and he'll drive in to get fuel from a petrol station, and he'll say to me, "Why didn't you stop at that one?" I said, "I'm not fucking driving in," and he'll like go in and come back out again. Nah, fuck that. I'll wait till I can drive in a nice easy one.
Nice easy one. That's it. Yeah. No, people are probably the hardest thing about the job. They don't understand. People just don't understand. You know, you see it every day. They cut in front of you, and they just don't get it.
Yeah, you know what absolutely drives me nuts about fucking watching people drive is you'll have a truck, right? A truck will be doing 110 along the flat. cruise along, no problems at all. Slight hill, it'll drop back to 90 and fucking everyone will zoom past it. Zoom, 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 and then do fucking 90 and wonder why the truck's up their ass.
That's right,
I just look at it and think, you know what? I'm going to fucking sit behind that truck at 90 because when he gets over that hill, he's going to be doing fucking 10 Ks more than me. So I'm just going to fucking sit behind him here.
Yeah.
And the truckies notice when that happens, like they think, oh, that guy's actually got half a brain. And when I hit the slow, he's just sitting behind me because he knows I'm fucking out of there again when he hit the flat.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can, when you're doing it for a long time, you can look in your mirror, and I can look in the mirror and probably 95% of the time I know what the person behind me is going to do.
Yeah.
You see him coming up, you know, oh, this prick's going to fucking cut me off. And lo and behold, it happened. And we don't drive, 10 metres in front of us. We're looking at the next hill, a kilometre down the road, and we prepare for that. We want that momentum to get over that hill, because you drop 5 Ks off your top end speed. That's probably 4 gear changes maybe. Whereas if you hit it at full speed, that might be 1 or 2 gear changes. It's just that much difference there. And that people don't understand that. It should be taught when you get your license. It should be taught, but it's just not. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating.
So the truck driving. So you're up there in Brisbane living in truck driving. Now, so you didn't go back to the RAAF, but you always had the back of your mind, I want to be a pilot.
Yep, I did.
So tell us about. I know that you've gone on to do some flying, and you're heading through the licenses and whatnot. How did that feel? What was your decision to was it? Did you talk to Kate about it and go, I really want to be a pilot. I know it's going to cost us some money, but this is my fucking dream.
Yeah. She's known since forever. We've been together for 24 years, 23, 24 years. She's known forever that it was just an inkling. And, she's gold, my wife. She's never tried to stop me. She's always the one that, if you want to do it, go and do it. Find a way and do it. And it's always been me that stopped me.
Yeah. Just pause for a sec there, Jace. I've got to go to the toilet. I'll just hit pause for a second.
Right.
I'll leave it recording because it's easy to edit it out.
Yep.
And then I don't fuck up with the recording.
I'll do the same. I'll come back.
Yeah, so just come back from the break on East Coast Averages here. We're still talking to Jason, and I would have dropped an advertisement there for a T-shirt company. Would somebody buy a fucking T-shirt from, please? I'm fucking all this advertising. Would somebody please buy a T-shirt? I'm begging you. Anyway, fine. So you spoke to Kate, and she's always backed you on doing what you want to do, like follow your dreams. And she's that sort of person. Look, Kez is the same with me. She's always telling me, do it, go and do what you need to do. So you decided.
Yeah, decided to. Yeah, well, a mate actually pushed me forward for it. He was probably the motivator. He just gave me some motivation to do it, and away we went and did it. And so it was like 30 years after I.
Did you just pick a flying school out of the paper and think that'll do, or did someone recommend one? Or?
No. I've done a fair bit of research. I'm always looking, but there was a little flying school out at Boona, which is just about 40 minutes from where I live, and just started flying there, and had no real goals when I started. I thought maybe I might get rich enough or fortunate enough to buy a little plane and just gin around and have some fun. And we went from there, and I started. It was 2019. I started flying there.
How do you go about getting the license to start? Did you have to do a medical or something like all that again?
No. So for my license, so I fly under an organisation known as Recreational Aviation Australia. So there's two organisations here. There's CASA, which is a Civil Aviation Safety Authority. They run general aviation, and recreational aviation's under RAAF. So no medicals for that. It's self-declared basically, unless you got a problem you can't hide. It's pretty much, mate, just start the study and start the flying.
Yeah, because it's quite in depth the course, isn't it? Like there's a lot of mathematics and planning.
Anyone can do it.
Yeah, but it's fairly intense with mathematics.
Yeah. It's common sensual stuff. Yeah. But it is. There's a lot of mathematics. Like I'm studying commercial aerodynamics at the moment for what I'm doing, but there's quite a bit in it.
Yep. So you trundle off for your first lesson.
Yep.
What are we talking? I'm thinking $300 a lesson. Is that about fair?
Yeah, pretty close to it. Yep. Yeah, about $250 at the time. Yep. And I've got to do to get the license is a minimum of 20 hours. So you can add that up. How much it's going to cost? And just winged it day to day. And once I started, mate, like I said, I had no real goals for it other than to do it. The instructor I had at the time, he was a pretty unique guy, and I just sort of watched him, and I thought, fuck, I think I might have a crack at being an instructor one day. So I went through, and he was my inspiration. He was a top guy. He was killed last year in a plane crash,
Oh, that's
unfortunately.
no good.
Yeah.
One that we would have seen on the news and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's pretty shit, man.
But really instrumental in my flying, he was. And so I got my licensing, and then sort of it just laid stagnant for a while after I'd got my license because I couldn't afford to fly.
After the 20 hours.
After the 20 hours, yeah.
Yep.
Because I couldn't afford to fly.
Yeah, so I want to go back to those 20 hours. That reinforced your desire to fly. You went up that first time and thought, yeah, fuck, this is it, man. And you sort of go home thinking, fuck, I wish I had some money. If I had the money, I'd just fucking give them $100,000 and say,
absolutely,
teach me to fucking fly.
Yeah.
Your first solo flight, how did that feel? That's what I want to hear. The instructor, obviously, I'm assuming your instructor does a couple of test flights where he sits in the aircraft and says nothing and says, pretend I'm not here.
That's right.
And then critiques you at the end of it.
That's right.
How did it feel when you landed off them and he said, hey, Jason, next week when you come, you're doing...
He didn't say that.
No, he didn't
say that. No, I went out there the day I did my first solo. I went out there and we just flying circuits, which it's called, which is, you do a circuit, touch and go landing and back up again. And we did a few of them, and then he just said, we'll taxi back up to the hangar, and we did, and he hopped out. No warning. They don't prepare you for it, because then you start
getting all fucking sweaty and start sweating fucking bullets and shit. And he just said, off you go and do
He just hopped out and he said, mate, just be aware it's going to fly a lot better without me in it. And
as
you're
in
on
quicker, sort of quicker and more manoeuvrable with the less weight.
So they climb a lot better.
Yep.
Obviously being, 100 kilos lighter. And then when you come to land, you'll float more. So you go to flare and you'll actually float more down the runway before it wants to stop flying.
So what did you think? What was the first thing you thought when he said, fuck, it's going to fly better without me? Were you thinking...
I shit myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shit myself. I fucking... It's one of those things where it's like, it's the greatest feeling, and you're building that whole time waiting for that moment. And it is, mate, it's the greatest feeling, being up there on your own. But then when you get up there, you just take off, and then I'm thinking, fuck, I've got to get this thing down on my own. So
you're taxiing out there by yourself, and you're thinking, fuck, I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And you're looking around, you're doing your checks, obviously.
Yeah, you're looking around, you're like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool, I'm doing it. And then I took off, and I was literally probably 500 feet in the air, and that's when it sort of started thinking, fuck, it's only me, I've got no one helping me if something turns to shit here. And it turned from like pure fucking joy to shitting myself.
To fear, yep.
Yeah, it was a bit of fear. And then, once I completed it, it was the greatest. It was the greatest.
So you come in for your first landing.
Yeah.
And you lined everything up and you're doing everything a million times that you've gone through the last fucking hours and shit. And did it float more without the weight? Did you think, oh, fuck, it's a bit weird? Yep.
Yeah, it was probably, I reckon it would have been a good 100 metres more. Yeah, but I greased it, mate. It was probably one of the best landings I've done.
So that was it? Just that one? How long were you flying for that one?
I went solo at about 12 hours.
Yep. And then, how long did that flight last by yourself? Was it like a 15, 20-minute flight?
6 minutes.
Oh, so you just went up, round, and landed?
That's just one circuit.
Yep.
Yep. So you just take off, do the circuit, come back and land. That's your solo. And that's all you do for the day.
Oh, okay, cool.
No more after that. I just let that sink in, it was sort of about a week before I went back out, and you're just still buzzing.
Yeah. So that means you've done that and signed off, so you can go out there, pay your $250 for the plane, and say, I'm going to do circuits. Is that how it works?
So once you're solo, you're back into the rest of your training.
Okay, righto. Yep.
And then so that was 12 hours. I got my license at about 24 hours, so I still had another 12 hours of dual training to go.
So what's that up to about $7 or $8 worth of flying?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. Yep. And then once I got my license, like I said before, I sort of was struggling to even go and do like 1 hour a month.
For like cost-wise?
Cost-wise, yeah. And I'd left Boona then. And I went and tried out another airfield, which is right down on the water on the Gold Coast at Jacobs Well. and just loved it down there. So that's where I stayed. That's where I still am now. And it was just, I was really scratching to get minimum times to stay current with it.
Oh, so you've got to do a certain amount of hours to stay current with that aircraft and that.
Yep. So the club I fly with, or the school I fly for now, they want you to fly sort of once a month.
Yep.
So you stay safe, because you forget shit and you get rusty. And I was really struggling to get that.
Well, you got a mortgage and 3 kids, mate. Fuck, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like that sort of stuff takes
South East Queensland ain't a cheap place to live.
Yeah, and all the other stuff sort of takes precedent over like the other bills and shit you got to pay.
That's what happens. Life gets in the way. It did for 20 or 30 years prior to me getting my license. Life just gets in the way, and sort of I just got fucking sick of struggling with it. So, we sat down with Kate. Well, I'm the money man. I make all the financial decisions. Kate's just like, yeah, whatever, fucking do whatever. And
that's what Kev says to me, but I'm fucking hopeless at it. Yeah, I don't care.
So I weighed it up, and I just fucking borrowed the money.
Yeah.
So I had a ton of command hours to do, and now what I'm doing is I'm actually a flight instructor in training. So I'm doing my flight instructor rating.
Yep. So you'll start getting paid to get your hours.
Yeah. But I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm not. So that's a passion.
Yeah.
My passion.
Is it something you want to do? Like, can you go past recreational to commercial? Is that where you're headed? Do you think
it's just money?
Yep, it's just purely a money thing.
I don't think I'll get to that stage. Like being a commercial pilot, you look at me at 44, basically with no experience. You could say coming up against 20-year-olds with the same experience, but they've got all that life ahead of them. So if you were to go get a job at an airline, they're going to look at that 20-year-old and the 40-year-old and go, fuck, I'm going to get more out of this bloke than the other.
Yep.
So why would I get a job? And for me, mate, it would be a massive pay cut and just not viable. So commercial pilot, no. Commercial license, yeah. I have to upgrade my license to at least a private license under CASA to
instruct people.
Continue with me instructing. Yep. I can instruct now as a junior instructor, but to move up the ladder, I've got to get those licenses. Exams.
Yep.
And that. So that'll happen. But I'm not looking at doing it for an income.
It's more of it's what you like to do. Yeah,
it's a love. I love teaching people.
Yep,
I've taught kids how to drive cars and that.
Yep.
I just love teaching people. And if you want to think about the money thing, it's going to make my flying free. So every hour that you're instructing someone is still my hours.
Yeah, it's all and flying is just all about hours, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's all about fucking hours.
All about
in
hours,
particular aircraft. Yeah. So now we've got to doing this for a living. Your first time flying a Coonabarra brand, did you think, fuck, okay, I'm thinking I'm going to hire a plane and head to Coona for a weekend? Like, is it
just overnight? Just down one day and back the next. It was.
Did that take much planning, to do? Like,
nah, not really, mate. Everything's all done on an app now.
Yeah, on an iPad.
You don't need paper maps or anything like that. Just sort of put it all together and hired the plane, waited for the weather to be right.
And did you fly down by yourself? Yep.
Flew down by myself. Yeah, it was great. It was just sitting back there and fucking just loving it. Yeah.
And then you saw Coonabarra brand coming up on the horizon.
I could see it come and see the Pilliga scrub and looking out for yowies and shit. And it was pretty cool flying into Coona. And that was the next time after that first
after that time you said,
that was the next time. Just 20 plus years later.
Did you cry?
And nah.
No, but you were were you just thinking?
I was too fucking busy. It was good though.
Yep.
Yeah. And my folks, they were there. They come up to see and that. And they told half the town I was coming. And
yeah. Can you go to Coonabarra without running into people every 2 seconds?
Yeah, I can. Most of them
you can now. They've all moved away. That's the problem with
all
country
old
towns.
folks are still there.
Like the young guys have got to leave to get careers.
Yeah,
because
it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much work for them.
Yeah.
So they end up leaving the town, and
Yep.
a lot of people like to go back to where they came from, but it's sort of like you sort of can't because there's no work.
That's right. There's nothing there. Yeah, you've got to retire there if anything. That's all you can do.
So you've gone because you had a pretty good high school and that. So went to shit a little bit when you joined the RAAF. Fucking life threw you a few wild ones.
Yeah.
But over that 30 years, you would have never thought you would have got to that point. You land on the plane in Coonabarabran.
Never.
You parked it up, tied it down.
It's one of those things where you think about it every day and you're like, yeah, fuck, this would be great, but you never actually think it's going to happen. And when it does happen, it takes a bit to sink in, to be honest. It's pretty surreal.
Yep. And, did Kate and that drive out there and meet you there for that night?
No.
No,
they stayed home. It was just me.
Yep.
Yeah. Just went out and spent the night with the folks and popped in and come back.
How long did that take you to fly there from?
It took about 4 hours on the way down. I had wicked headwinds.
Yep.
So it was rough as fuck, and had to stop for a dunny break and that. It was.
I was going to say, there's no toilets in those little planes, is there?
No, the toilet's out of service.
So how do you stop for a dunny break in a little plane? Have you got to call someone up and say I'm stopping in for or do you there's an airfield, like you're looking for divert airfields and shit, so you think I'm going to have to go in there and take a wee?
I just had me moving maps, me app on the phone, on the iPad, and I was like, fuck, where can I go? So I was like Tenterfield. So I was near Tenterfield, whizzed into Tenterfield and sort of dropped out of the sky, and it was like, it's funny, man, there's like tumbleweeds blowing around, and one bloke there was ginning around for a tractor, and he's looked at me, he's like, where the fuck do you come from? I said, up there, mate.
The sky, mate.
What are you doing here? I said, I just need to have a piss. And he's like, oh yeah, that tree over there works.
Don't they have those little windows in the side of the plane? You can couldn't you like get up there and while you're moving?
My stalk's not big enough for that.
Okay, fair enough. I thought they had special bags. Can you take a special bag with you to ween?
Oh, you take a drink bottle, I suppose.
It's more fun to land it and then ween and take off again, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I'd like to try it. Make a mess in there, then you got to sit in it.
That's funny, eh? What are you doing? What are you doing here, mate? Fucking stopping for a wee?
Stop for a piss, mate.
And so you flew home quicker because you didn't have a headwind? Yeah.
It took me it was 4 hours down, and it took me just over about 2 3/4 back.
Yeah, 1 tank of juice on the way down?
Yep. So the aircraft's got 2 tanks in it. But basically half of those 2 tanks, so 1 tank,
Yeah, I don't know if you'd get me up there, Jason, because I'm a bit of a scaredy cat with flying. I went to Hawaii. You like flying commercial planes? Like you don't mind being in the back of planes?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I get claustrophobic in them, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, it's great. Flying's great no matter what, but it's like, I don't know if you're the same with driving. If you drive, you feel more in control, obviously, than being a passenger.
Yeah.
So,
have you had any times up there flying over Stratty and that where the weather's closed in and you've really had to like pull on your trainer and think, okay, I can see some bad weather coming? Do you go on to do instrument flying and all that kind of stuff where there's through cloud cover and all that shit?
So not on my license. No, we're all visual. So I'm flying what's called VFR, visual flight rules. So you plan before you go. So you got to make sure that you can come back if you're going out. So if it looks half dodgy, you just don't do it.
Yeah.
So no, I've never had that. I've never had that with weather. My trip back from Coonabarabran, I had an alternator fail on the aircraft, so I lost a lot of electrical power. But that was probably the closest I've had to a holy shit moment.
Yep. So what would happen if an alternator fails in the aircraft you're flying? Like
basically, if it continues, basically all your electrical power goes. So you lose instruments and radios, and then things like flaps and that are electrically operated.
Oh, righto, yep.
You lose all the function.
So you have to change the way you land because you can't do certain things.
Yeah. So the aircraft will still fly, the engine will still run, but you just lose all those ancillaries and that.
Yep. Do you practice doing landings without flaps and all that kind of stuff as part of your training?
Yep. Engine failures, all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
It's probably one of the most important things to learn.
So the instructor will just lean over and push the throttle in. So you've just had an engine failure. What are you doing? Yeah, so when you're learning, your instructor, he won't give you any warning. He'll just cut the power. Yep.
You just pull the throttle back and he's like, engine failure, you've got no engine. What are you going to do? So you got a procedure to go through, and that's something that gets ingrained. And you talk about it every day before you take off. If the engine fails, this is what I'm going to do. And it's just it's a natural reaction. Touch wood, I've never had to do it, but yeah.
Were the written exams you had to do difficult? You got through all them, right?
Yes and no, mate. Yeah, I did quite a lot of study for them, so I found them all right. In saying that, maybe the commercial license is a lot different. It's a lot more in depth, but
Yeah.
for me, not really. No, it wasn't. It wasn't too bad. It was a pretty good experience right through.
So that's the future, eh? Teaching people how to fly. Is it something you'd like to do for a living, or you see there's
yes.
is there a lot of money in being?
No,
there's not.
No,
Yeah,
there's not.
There's not much money in any of the good jobs out there, really, is there?
No, it's like one of those kilometre rates in the truck. When you're an instructor, you only get paid when the prop's turning. So yeah, it's very hit and miss, and then at range you don't get paid.
Yeah.
Aircraft doesn't take off, you don't get paid. So there's not a lot of money that way, but I'd really like to own a flying school.
Yep.
So maybe one day. We'll never say never.
One of those planes worth anyway?
The one I fly, one just got sold for 270,000.
Brand newy or second hand?
Brand newy. So
yep.
yeah.
So that's actually not like ridiculously, like it's a lot of fucking money. Don't get me wrong, but it's not.
A lot.
It's not like fucking $3 million. You know what I mean? Like $270 is sort of doable if you've got some equity in a house and a decent business plan. You might actually go all right.
That's it. Well, 270. You could buy one for less than half that. Not necessarily the same one, but that's just the scale. You can buy something good from 60 grand upwards.
Yeah. So you got visions of you and Kate instead of caravanning, just heading around Australia.
She doesn't like flying.
Oh, she doesn't like. Have you taken her up before?
I've taken her up twice.
Yep.
And the last time I took her up, I took her around the Gold Coast and around Q1 building and that. She spent most of the time with her eyes shut.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
How close do you get to the Q1 building?
Maybe 500 metres.
Oh, okay. So you're sort of flying
when we fly up the coast, when we fly along the coast, we're actually flying lower than the buildings.
Right. So you're sort of offset over the water.
Yeah,
is that like the flight path? It's like set this. Yep. That's where you sort of go.
That's it. Yep. And we're 500 feet above the water, so we're actually looking up at the buildings, and that's pretty cool when you're doing 200 k's an hour.
Yeah, and can you see other planes in front of you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is there another plane a kilometre in front of you heading in the same direction, sort of thing?
Yeah. There's around the Gold Coast. There's lots of aircraft around. You got the SeaWorld helicopters and the rescue choppers and all that, and other aircraft. There's other airfields around. But,
so it's pretty busy up there, and you're talking to them busy. On the radio.
Yeah, we communicate. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
a helicopter might call you up and say, "Hey, that plane over there, have you got me coming? I'm coming around behind you to go out to sea or whatever."
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And say if I'm Q1, I'll announce myself. Northbound Q1 for a straight break 500 feet, and everyone knows exactly where each other are, and you sort of go from there. So yeah, we all communicate.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good actually. So going back 30 years, and you never thought you would get there?
No, I didn't. No. Honestly, didn't. No,
yep.
I talked myself out of it. I always told myself I could never afford it. It was my excuse. I could never afford it.
And what was the defining moment when you stopped giving yourself that excuse? Was it your mate talking you into it, or was it? Yeah,
it was. Yeah. He just gave me that push to go.
Yeah,
pretty much. If you don't do it, you're not gonna.
So So now you would say 44 years old. You're driving trucks for a living. You're finally in the aircraft. Do you sit back now and think all that shit you went through, that hard yards with the RAAF and your back injury and the pain relief and your business going, like you've had some shit happen. You look back at that now with a sort of sense of calmness where you think, you know what? I've fucking gone through some shit. I've gone through some really dark times, and you sit back and think, but look at me now, man. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah, look, I'm a funny bloke. I'm never happy. I'm always looking for something else. I can look at those things, and the way I tell myself is, if those things didn't happen, this probably wouldn't be happening now.
Yeah, you wouldn't be where you are now. Yep.
Like, if I didn't get discharged from the RAAF and all that, I wouldn't have met my wife.
Yep.
She's my fucking life partner. I love her to death. And I wouldn't have my kids and all that sort of shit. So I think things, they happen for a reason, obviously.
Yeah, and everyone's life's full of those little moments where you go this way or you go that way, or you know what I mean? So
yeah,
cool.
I definitely look back at it and I think, I think all those things have led me to, obviously, to where I am. But for a reason, mate.
Yep. And just one more thing before we go, I'll question about you drive fuel trucks. How dangerous is it driving around a B-double full of fuel? Like, we see them go down the road and, you're driving along and you see this fucking fuel truck go past, and I often think, oh, fuck, just how fucking dangerous is it driving that much fucking fuel around?
Yeah, it's all right until it turns to shit.
Yeah, it's good until it's not.
Safe.
Yeah.
They're safe, but when it turns to shit, it's usually catastrophic.
Yeah.
So there's not much, if you walk away from it, you're lucky, basically.
Yeah. Touch wood, you don't see a lot of accidents happening with fuel trucks. But when so you pump the gas into the fuel stations and what happens if you put in the wrong hole, like the wrong?
Yeah, it's pretty much a don't come Monday.
That's the thing that we'll see you looking for a new job.
We've got like 32 steps or procedures we've got to take before you pull the handle. It's just to make sure that doesn't happen. But if I did,
is that a checklist you hold in your hand?
No,
you know it off by heart. Like
it's not off by the top of my head now.
But you still, so when you're doing it, you still go through it. Okay, I'm looking at that.
You develop a process. Yeah, you develop a process. So if you're not doing something, if you miss something, it's sort of one of those subconscious things.
You feel like something's missing. And so, is there anything special about the front of your truck that's different to other trucks that aren't pulling big flammable liquid? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything different in the truck? Do you have like a fire fucking suppression button or something? Or
nah, the only thing special about mine is me sitting in it.
Oh, okay. I thought there might have been something there to fucking hit a button and say, "Fuck, it's gone to shit." Some kind of fire suppression or something.
No. You just take big steps, and it's usually in the opposite direction.
So if I'm driving down the road and I see a door open to a fuel truck, and there's a driver like fucking booking it up the road at the other direction, probably turn left.
Yeah, don't hang around. Yeah,
yeah, right.
Drive faster than him.
So is your whole truck going to one station, or do you like measure? You go, okay, this fuel station's ordered 1,000 litres off me, and you sort of like count it out as you're putting it in.
That's all or nothing. So
okay, so
I can split it up, so I could put half the load in one servo and half the other. But say a compartment might be 8,000 litres. It's either all that compartment or nothing.
Yeah, because I remember my uncle telling me he used to drive water carts, and he said, put your foot on the brake back in the day, you'd feel it like pushing. Yeah. You can feel that in a truck, like
you can,
Yep.
And you get little changes in undulations in the road and that, and the truck will start railroading on those undulations, and then it might take 300 metres for it to stabilise.
To put it back together, sort of thing.
If you notice the trailers might be swaying around, you think this bloke's he's going to sleep or something, but no, it's just,
he's
full. Settling back
it's
out.
like a move his fuels, because they put baffles in the tank or something to slow that down.
They got baffles in them, yeah. That's right, stop that slosh. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you put unleaded in one of your trailers, is that it? It's always unleaded forever?
Nope.
Oh, you can change fuel over?
Changes every load.
Oh, right. So they empty the tank. They can put whatever they want in it.
Yeah, we just drain it out, and you don't wash it out or anything like that.
Yep.
We just drain it out when we get back to the terminal to load the next load, and whatever it is, it is. Yeah. So the only thing they don't cross contaminate is things like jet fuel.
Yeah. Jet fuel's a little bit they're a bit more, nicer about that, aren't they? Because you don't want your fuel.
Yeah, pretty strict on.
You don't want your fucking engine conking out at 30,000 feet because we fucking put a bit of diesel in it or a bit of unleaded in it accidentally.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, we're coming up to an hour and a half, mate. So we've gone from out in the middle of I had no idea that you lived in buttfuck nowhere. I knew you'd lived in Coonabarra, but I didn't realise you'd been up in New England on a farm and that. So you've gone from shooting rabbits to the RAAF to back pain to businesses, and now, like I said, you seem pretty content with where it's all heading and what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm not interested in the fuel truck driving. That's just not my thing. But definitely the flying, mate. I'm heading the right way.
Mate, a lot of people aren't interested in the job they do. They've got a good work ethic and they sort of enjoy it, and you can get up every morning because it's not that bad a job to do. But generally speaking, a lot of people, the work they do is not their passion in life.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that's probably my biggest thing I tell my kids. If you're going to do a job, you're going to do it for a long time. So try and find something that you like doing,
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be absolutely passionate about it, but you've got to enjoy getting out of bed.
Yeah. Even if it's just the people that you go and work with, you just got to find that enjoyment in something.
Yeah. And how do you find that, like you're in the truck by yourself all the time? Do you get like a trainee and you think, fuck, I've finally got someone to speak to for a couple of hours and you never shut up? Or
I don't like it. I like being on my own.
Yeah, you quite like being by yourself?
Yeah. When we start and finish shifts, we have banter amongst the guys if we're all there together, but I just like being on my own.
You like that solitary sort of thing? Do you listen to the radio, talk back, music?
Yeah.
East Coast Averages?
Yeah. I do, yeah.
Which is good. But
Yeah,
what's your
no, I do,
preference?
mate,
Like,
yeah.
you like to listen to music in the morning and talk back in the afternoon? Do you have like a preference of what you, depending on what
No,
day, what you're feeling, what mood you're feeling?
talk back at night's good.
Yep.
There used to be a talkback show on Triple M. It's actually just been cut, but it was brilliant, mate.
Oh, that guy's cut, has he?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's been on for ages, that show.
Yeah, I think it's been like nearly 10 years. They cut him last
Oh,
Friday.
right. Did they say why? Because I actually have listened to that from time to time because I do night shifts.
Yeah, just budget cuts, I think.
Yeah, budget cuts, mate. That's the fucking talk of the town at the moment. It costs of living, budget cuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah. But that was good. I always listen to that and you get a laugh and you learn a lot about people when you listen to talkback. And,
yep.
I
used to listen to the guy on ABC at night, Trevor Chappell, who's not the cricket player. And I remember listening to him one night. He went out and spent the night on the Pilliga because of all the stories.
Oh,
from
yeah,
the Pilliga.
okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good when he did that. No? Yeah. So, Jason, I always ask people, I think I'm going to stop asking people for advice on life, because it's a very cliche thing in podcasts to say, so what advice would you give to people? And I think, you know what, if you go back and we've been talking an hour and a half, I think if you don't get something out of that conversation, then saying, so I think I've been, this is my 33rd episode or something.
Wow.
And I try and change, I'm thinking, it's probably not worth asking what's your advice in life, because we've just spent an hour and a half talking about what you've been doing. So I guess you should be able to work something out from listening to you. Hey?
Basically, all I say, mate, I know you're not asking, but basically all I say is just don't regret not doing something. It's better to do something and fuck up and just regret doing it than to spend your whole life wondering what if. Yeah,
what ifs, yeah. And look, most people say that, because life's a pretty good thing, eh? It can be real shit at times.
Can be, yeah.
Most of the time,
it can be pretty good, though.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. But yeah, I really do appreciate coming on, Jason. And
thanks, Nick. Thanks for inviting me on, mate. It's a pleasure to be here after hearing some of the stories from your previous guests. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, mate. Yeah.
And I think your story is up there with the rest of them, man. And I really appreciate coming on Sunday. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon, mate.
I will, mate. Thanks, you too.
Those magnificent men in their flying machine, they go up to the up, they go down to the down.
Thanks for listening to another episode of East Coast Averages, and thanks to Jason for coming on and chat to me on a Sunday afternoon. You can get me at info@eastcoastaverages.com, website www.eastcoastaverages.com. I'm on all the podcast platforms. If you don't mind pressing like, subscribe and rating on whatever platform you listen on, share it on your social medias. Get it out there. If you want to come on the show or you know someone who would make a good guest on the show, send me an email. Go to my website. There's a guest application on the website, and I'll speak to you next week.
They really don't care. Newton would think he had made a mistake to see those young men and the chances they take. Those magnificent men in their flying machines, they go up to the up, they go down to the down. They enchant the ladies and steal all the scenes with their up to the up, and they're down to the down. Up, down.